That's right. It's another late night and time for another reach into the Just Giggle It grab bag. And tonight we're pulling out. Oh, sorry, gotta go all the way to the sleeve here, folks. Wow, what is this? What am I feeling here? Wow, sorry, folks, I blow the dust off this one. It's a blast from the past. It's Facebook corrupts proposal socially engaged. Just Giggle It sketch numero dos. And you know what, Tiki? I don't know, man. It's like the luck of the draw. It is the fourth time this month we've gotten a Piper Hinson specific sketch. I wonder why that is. I wonder why we're covering that all of a sudden. Wow, it's just what the luck of the draw. Why is that? What do you think?
Dragon, I think just if I had to guess, if I had to like write down the equation and map it all out in my head, I think it's time to pay the piper.
Purdue!
Ooh. That's right, folks. For the last time this season on Just Giggle It Grab Bag, of course, this season has been dedicated to all things Piper Hinson. And rest assured, folks, I mean, Dragon, if anything, there might be a sequel season to the Piper season down the line because there's a lot of material to cover with this woman.
Well, you better believe it.
But yeah, Dragon, I'm sure you have some backstory for this one. This is a very, very, very early sketch in the chronology of Just Giggle It, and I am very curious to hear. You know, of course, one of the big things about this one, Dragon, just to kind of get my thesis statement on it out of the way, I really think the editing of this and the just the idea of it all, just the whole like, okay, we're so obsessed with social media, we literally live in social media. This sketch is kind of giving us a taste of that through the lens of Piper Hinson. And Dragon, I'm so intrigued by that, especially so early on into the Just Giggle It journey, into the the canon that is Just Giggle It. And so I'm sure you have a lot of interesting things to say about it, Dragon, before we launch into our beat by beat. I don't think the beat by beat is going to take very long because it's only about a minute and a half, but yeah, Dragon, I'm curious. What do you like? What brought this about?
Well, let's see. Well, first off, this was written and edited by Joshua Thomas and was directed by. Here's the director we haven't really done a lot of stuff on the grab bag so far with. You again shows you how early this is, Tiki. It's Yuka Kodono, if I'm pronouncing that right. Yuka. Point is, it's Yuka, man. It's Yuka.
Yuka, one of the original Just Giggle It contributors.
Yes, the original long-lost founder, essentially. Well, long-lost founder, I mean, Yuka she went on to better, hopefully better,
it's like
brighter
the person
things.
in the Just Giggle It biopic that's going to come along at the last minute for, like, redemption in the eyes of the band.
Pretty much, she's pretty much kind of the light bulb. Basically, she's kind of the Mickey Rooney of Just Giggle. She's like I got a barn. Let's like my uncle's got a barn. Let's put on a show. That's pretty much Yuka. She's the one who says, "Hey, I got this."
She's like the singer that dropped out of the first band in Bohemian Rhapsody.
Essentially, yes. In essence, I mean, if you want to go for the current reference, then yes. But no, seriously, a lot of love to Yuka because again, Yuka's kind of the lightning rod, if you will, kind of the well. I don't know if the lightning rod's probably she's like either she's the lightning or she's the rod. She's the instrument that kind of brings about kind of the formation of Just Giggle. She's the one that's like, well, why don't we do that? And again, it's a very interesting question. It gets us where we go with Just Giggle. But okay, point being. This is an early sketch. We have Yuka in the fold where Yuka was, if anyone just wants to, man, I wonder what Yuka looks like. She is the dead body in I believe it's 912, right?
Oh, yes. Oh, God. Okay.
Of course, also showcases Piper Hinson's abilities right out the gate. So now we are talking about these, like, again, basically we just now referenced the first two sketches of Just Giggle. But interestingly, from what I understand, those weren't the first sketches made. Believe it or not, Tiki, another Facebook sketch was the original Just Giggle It. Was at least the first thing filmed by Just Giggle It. It's kind of like a Batman the Animated.
Are you talking about the Social Network?
Yes, that's the one.
Yeah, I've known about this. Yes.
Yeah, so the Social Network, which we almost covered initially, we kind of saved it for a rainy day. No, don't worry, folks. We'll get to it at some point. But you got a plethora of really great Just Giggle It sketches. Some great, some I'm not so looking forward to, but the majority of them, like 90% of them, great. Anyway, what I'm getting at, folks, is oddly enough, again, it was kind of something vaguely tangentially connected to Facebook with the Social Network. And I believe that was the first one they filmed. The Batman the Animated Series, the point I was going to make is like it's like how with an animated show you have certain episodes in production order where you film things in a different order. That again, like this episode was filmed first, and then getting kind of a groove with things, kind of performing with each other and such. And then, of course, then they have sketches. And of course, I always mentioned Joshua Thomas has like a kind of a grand vault of like these of the Just Giggle It sketches that he just kind of graced
The
us
Prince
with when
Vault, man, the Prince Vault.
Yes, yes, yeah. Essentially, as a Prince vault of sketches and projects waiting to be released and kind of seen by prying eyes. And of course, basically, they're all kind of collected and they're kind of released. And I guess the order just kind of ended up being the way it is. But the point being, that was filmed first. Now I'm speculating a little bit on this backstory. There's not a whole lot of backstory here, but there's a lot of stuff to speculate on. Where my my inkling is that they kind of were experimenting with some social media comedy with that, and that kind of inspired this, is my guess. I don't know if it was on the docket immediately, but I
Well, of
imagine
course, the title "Just Giggle It," that kind of makes you wonder if initially just the whole idea of like the internet angle, the internet comedy and parody was was sort of the initial theme. You know what I mean?
Well, sir, I remember you and I way back in the beginning of the grab bag. We always speculated that Just Giggle kind of the charm of it. And again, for all intents and purposes, it still can remain this way. Just sometimes not as like kind of literalized as it is in some sketches, where Just Giggle is a search engine, hence kind of the Google looking kind of layout of the logo. Where basically it's like you look for like it's all comedy sketches. Anything you type in will be a comedy sketch, even the most monotonous or just like whatever you type in will end up being a really like serial mom or something. So,
if buying an orange were like buying a car,
essentially, just a number of questions like that. Just that's it's delightful. It really is. Let's see. Beyond that, of course, a big reason we picked this is that there's kind of a fun kind of life imitating art to this. Where again, this month, we're celebrating Piper Hinson. We're kind of evaluating elements of her as a performer, a writer, director, et cetera, et cetera. And we've covered her. Let's see, we've covered her as the actor. We've with if buying an orange, really buying a car. We've covered her. We've covered her as the head or director, if you will, with a Mad Men parody. And we covered her as a singer with Randy and Sandy Newman.
Oh God, and that was
under the covers.
Dragon, I gotta say, out of all of them this month, as much as I like all of them, like they all shine, but the Sandy Newman one, man, that was the MVP.
Oh yeah, and this one we kind of saved this one for last because again I don't want
because it just kind of like goes back into the roots. This is like the structure of a movie where it's like, okay, like at the very end of the movie, you reveal and you go back further than you ever have before, and you're like, oh, that's how it all happened. That makes sense.
Exactly. So we kind of looked at this one twofold, where it's again, it's kind of we're going back to early kind of Jessica, kind of the lightning rod at Piper Hinson. We already did 912, so we couldn't quite go back that far. And also it's kind of the happy accent of like, oh wait a minute, because it was going to be this or misconnections. Those are the two we were kind of flip flopping between. We're going to save misconnections for another because that's a great sketch in itself. Which, by the way, is a sketch that Just Giggle is very fond of. Which a little bit more on that later. Okay. Suffice it to say. Suffice it to say, this one also kind of parallels the fact that Piper Hinson. She's she's kind of grown as kind of the journey of Piper Hinson, kind of the actress wonderkin of Just Giggle. She's kind of grown. She's going on an arc. It's kind of these loony these beloved loons kind of getting together and kind of making comedy gold on a regular basis. And again, down the line, she herself has gotten last year I believe she got engaged and she got married too. So it's kind of like life imitating art. I thought that was so kind of cute. Like, oh, isn't that kind of nice? She has this little sketch about the proposal. And again, it was the first thing that jumped out to me, and it was like, yeah, why don't we cover that?
Right.
So it's kind of a
Piper Hinson is celebrated for on Just Giggle It.
I'm sorry.
Do you know what else Piper Hinson is celebrated for on Just Giggle It?
Do I? Harley Quinn and the Joker
versus the real world.
Yeah.
I got to get this out before we dive into the episode proper. Dragon, take it away.
Well, folks, I won't mince words. There exists in this finite existence of life, there exists a show beyond shows. There exists, if you love Batman, if you love comics, you love good storytelling, if you like compelling characters that have kind of a little bit of narcissism, a little bit of just a little bit of narcissism, a little bit of just like kind of off the walls bonkersness, but also again some of that gripping character drama. Look no further. I have the show just for you. It's called Harley Quinn, the Joker versus the Real World. It's about, of course, the age-old Batman characters, the Joker and his Harley Quinn of hate, Harley Quinn. And well, he is the Harley Quinn of hate, but now we actually got a Harley Quinn, which is kind of it's so nice how that worked out because Harley Quinn was was never intended from the very beginning. She was kind of this great creation that came out of the animated series. But I'm telling you, folks, like things you already know, at least things you already should know. Point being, there exists a show that kind of captures the essence of these characters at their best and kind of puts them in a new setting, contextualizes them in a brand new way. And it places them in L.A. You know, they've kind of gotten away from Gotham. They're going for a fresh start, and basically they're kind of trying to blend in L.A. again, start from the ground up, and kind of meet the new challenges in life. Kind of putting Joker and Harley Quinn, these monolithic characters, and putting them in kind of a really mundane setting. Seeing like in L.A., no one's going to notice these two crazies. Aha! But it's a little deeper than that. Don't get me wrong, that's funny, and there's a lot of great comedy to be mindful. It's like, what if these great characters were just placed in like kind of an everyday setting that's completely it's polar opposite of Gotham, really. But also, we have sort of a hook. We have, as I've always, a big reason a big reason for our fondness with Piper Hinson, at least for me. I'm just going to kind of get the ball rolling a little bit, kind of plant the seeds here. The two sketches I know Piper Hinson from most. The two sketches kind of sold me on Piper Hinson as an actress. For this was the Making a Murderer parody, the Ken Kratz Story Hour, where she's in that. She plays the school teacher, and just it delights me. It's my favorite parody. It's one of my favorite Just Giggle It videos outside of Harley Quinn and Joker. And of course, with Harley Quinn and Joker, you have the character of Addison, which end of episode 1, suffice it to say, and I've said this ad nauseum, but folks, it remains true. It's a reason you got to check out the show. Again, you click on that video and you think, wow, it's just, okay, it's another, like, look, okay, it's the Joker and Harley doing couple stuff. Whoop-de-doo, I've seen that. Been there, done that. Mad love. I love that story, too. Yeah, sure, but there's more to that, man. It's putting them in a real setting. And, again, seeing outside of minding the comedy, what if there was a little bit of kind of some seeds of drama and actual storytelling here? It basically seems like a one-shot kind of comedy video, but then you get to the end of it with this character, this Addison character, this character that essentially is their roommate. They're kind of rooming with the lay low, and they kind of make ends meet in their new stay in L.A. And basically, she has this moment. I won't spoil it for you because you got to watch the video to find out. There's a hook, man. This whole series, this Harley Quinn and Joker as a series, hinges on this moment with her at the end, where it's like, wow, there's really some substance here. I gotta know what happens next with this character, because Piper Hinson, with a single look, man, I won't say the context of it all, but Piper Hinson, with a single look, she kind of captures all the intrigue.
Dragon, it's like that moment in How to Train Your Dragon that I won't bore you with, but you know what I'm talking about.
I know exactly what you're talking about. It's that little moment, you know. It's like these little moments that kind of speak volumes, that kind of has your attention. It's like, I'm already sucked in because, you know, big Batman fan over here, but then we get to these moments like, wow, this character is kind of funny. All right, but then we have like some drama introduced, and then by the end it's like, oh my god, I have to know what happens next. There's another episode I gotta watch. So I hope this isn't just like, I mean, it could still succeed as a one shot, but if there's more to it, it's going to be fantastic. And folks, it is. You're going to watch the series. You're going to become addicted to the series. You're going to watch episodes 1, 2, 3, 4, and most importantly 5, because when you watch 5, you're going to get to the end of 5, and you're going to wonder, where's episode 6? And I can tell you where episode 6 is. Right now, it's being filmed, edited. Soon it will be in the can, ready to be uploaded. It'll be in a shelf in the Joshua Thomas Prince vault.
Put in the Kubrick vault, man. Put in the Kubrick vault.
And the only way to unlock it, the only way to put a kind of the proverbial stethoscope to it, folks, is get the view count on episode 5. Just the view count. You just got to watch it. You got to share. You got to get the word out there like we're doing. We're doing is a drop in the bucket. You guys can do so much more than us. Get the word out there. Share it. Spread it so people watch episode 5. Get simply the view count up to 1 million views, which basically unleashes the bountiful glory that I'm sure will be episode 6. We've gotten a few glimpses at it. Again, there's production stuff right now. We've seen images, we've seen film, we've seen a number of really excellent things. Trust me, folks, this episode's going to be worth it. Especially if you watch the first 5, you've got to see episode 6, and there are more plans for more episodes. But again, folks, get this show the attention it deserves. Watch it. Especially get to the end point of that episode 1. I'm talking up here with all the Piper Hinson stuff. You'll see what I'm talking about, man. You're gonna watch it. You're gonna be so happy with it. You're gonna be, how have I not seen this before? You're gonna spread the word. You're gonna check out the Just Giggle It channel after that. It's a domino effect of utter happiness. I mean, why deny yourself that happiness? That's what I ask you, good sirs and madams.
My God, Dragon, that is a compelling argument, sir.
Yes, and of course, let me seed this here throughout here. I'll kick us off with this before we just dive into the recap. I put the call out to the Just Giggle It right now. They have kind of this excellent forum. It's called on the Discord channel. I'm sure you gamers out there know exactly what the Discord channel is. Me, I just know it has like a name that sounds like Cord. That's pretty much all I know about it. The point is, it's like a little social forum where all the fans of Just Giggle It and just kind of people wandering by, I presume gamers, nothing against gamers. I'm saying it's pretty much, I think it's a video game platforming first, where basically people can talk to each other while they're playing games, comment, and it's a neat little thing, I guess. Point being, people just kind of have wandered into the Just Giggle It kind of forum, and we all kind of, if you want to be up to date on like all the recent developments of Just Giggle It, whether it be sketches, Harley Quinn, the Joker, just kind of talking to the makers of Funny themselves, look no further. Go to the Discord channel. When you go there, you can kind of put the call and kind of directly talk to kind of the makers of Fun, and not the pop guys, the makers of of Funny, if you would. So you got to stick with Funny. If I say makers of Fun, it's like, that's a Netflix documentary. It's not related to any of this. No, in all seriousness, I put the call out to the lovely fans of Just Giggle and the Grab Bag as well. I put the feelers out and said, because I wanted, after doing Poncio Month, when we did Poncio Month, it was delightful. But I felt it was missing something. We got to do to get the end of the month, on the last video at least, if not throughout the whole thing, we got to start kind of having a little bit of audience reaction, get a little bit of like kind of audience feedback to kind of highlight, kind of get some additional
that's always great, man. And I just got to acknowledge that I love that through the last few months, we've really managed to get like a live audience for these things and keep it. And it really warms my heart, Dragon. And, I really am loving the way that the channel's going and the channel's growing. And I feel a great connection between So You Want to Be an Imagineer and Just Giggle It. And I hope we can keep up that momentum.
Absolutely. But again, it's not about us, folks. It's about Piper Hinson this month. And that's why I put the call out. I wanted to, again, this whole thing's about paying the piper her due, and to do that,
seriously, pay the piper. Get me my checkbook.
Yes, and to do that, we figure we get some goodwill towards Piper Hinson out in this last episode from the fans, not just us, because we've been doing it for 4 videos now. I want to hear from the folks, and I have some words of, so basically some favorite sketches, some favorite moments, just like some general praise, like what do you like about Piper Hinson, that kind of stuff. So. Basically, we're just going to get a number of that live, I hope, and we have a little bit right now. Of course, we have some from Just Giggle. We'll kind of share a little bit later, but right now, let me call one out. So we have Iconically Wayne, a commenter right now. Iconically Wayne.
I like that username.
Yes, and it's quite clever, I got to be honest. So Iconically Wayne comments, "Morning Wake Up is another great Piper Hinson and Mark Sipka team up," and I couldn't agree more.
That's I haven't seen yet, Dragon. Of course, one of the big premises of the Grab Bag is that you and I kind of save a lot of these episodes to be surprised by. I think you and I kind of, we'll peak, right? We'll peak early at some of them, but we, generally speaking, like to be surprised. We, generally speaking, like to save a lot of these to be, unopened until we actually get to them on the podcast. A great example of that is of course, the orange one.
Yes, and I got to tell you, Morning Wake Up has a bit of a similar thing, where not to the same extent as if buying an orange or like buying a car, because that one is just utterly, again, that one just had my curiosity piqued so much, and I've been dying to get to that one, which is why we opened.
And then it just peaked so much. It was just like, oh my God, this is everything I ever wanted.
Absolutely. So again, like this one has the same extent. Again, it's just kind of a very casual, kind of very casual, kind of friendly looking thumbnail. So eventually we'll get to that. So I mean, it looks really good is what I meant by saying that. But it looks good, and I'll take your word for it, Iconically Wayne. Again, if we've learned anything from Randy and Sandy Newman, it's that when you pair Sipka and Piper Hinson together, just
my God,
just buckle up, man. Just buckle up. And of course, T, I just want to highlight this real quick, again, just because we're introspective here, and again, just we'll get more stuff as we get here throughout. But real quick, it's just so ironic, and folks, we did not plan this at all, but we opened, because Piper Hinson Month is going to be such an explosive, again, such kind of a monolithic. Again, the Piper Hinson, as I like to refer to her during this theme month, is again, she's kind of out of the almost Justice League trinity of it all, out of the the original kind of the DC trinity, your Batman, your Superman, your Wonder Woman, she's kind of the Amazon goddess. She's the G in Just Giggle It, if you will. We have Joshua Thomas as kind of our front runner, face man, Superman, if you will, or Nick Cage Superman to be exact. Piper Hinson is kind of the Amazon goddess of funny, and we have Poncio as Bat Poncio. It's pretty simply Bat Poncio because just all there.
Upside down Poncio.
Yes, like 89 when he's doing the workout. Yes, that one.
Exactly.
Yes. Just calling for Alfred. Alfred, I'm stuck. Alfred, well, I guess this is how my day's going today. Alfred, wheel me around upside down. I want to see how the world looks. I'm going on upside down patrol. Okay, anyway, silliness aside, the point being, we wanted to we wanted to open it big, and what we did is it was a month so huge, so bombastic. We opened it with it was an act that necessitated even an opening act, which of course, Tiki, what was our opening act for Hinson Month?
That was Mark Sipka's my special family special.
Yes, and again, since we had no idea, don't know we selected, but again, like kind of no. Again, I swear to God, it was happy acts. I mean, we here's the thing, because we switched out. We weren't originally going to do Randy and Sandy Dune, but there was kind of a demand for it, so we kind of slipped it in there. So we had no idea we were going to cover Mark Sipka and Piper Hinson this month. So it just kind of happened. It was like, oh my God, how fortuitous. So again, it's like another recommendation for us, Sipka and Hinson. It's just kind of wonderfully everything's coalescing is what I'm getting at here.
For sure.
All right, so I guess all that said, let's dive into it. You start us off.
Okay, so we start things off with a Dragon. I got to admit, I like this location. It's it's probably just someone's backyard, but I think they do it up nice. They got some plants in the background. It kind of looks like a vaguely tropical setting. They got some nice lights. It's kind of got like dusk feel to it. I don't know. I think the production value for the second episode is pretty on point.
Yes, and I gotta admit, it's kind of a better restaurant setting. I'm not trying to cast any shade here. It's a better restaurant setting.
And it's a better restaurant setting than I Don't Have a Dad.
Than the Pokemon parody, yep.
Which, of course, I feel like Joshua Thomas himself will kindly laugh at himself about that one.
But I gotta tell you, just one of these days, again, if Joshua Thomas is listening, which he might be, I don't know. If he's listening, one of these days, there happens to be a Pokemon-related movie coming out, and we haven't seen old Ash Ketchum in a while. Just saying, I don't have a dad, especially
with game and movie.
Yeah, especially given the fact that in this new Pokemon movie there is a character who doesn't have a dad.
Oh God, you're right. Oh,
I'm just saying. All right, I'm not the one. I don't want to grease
a dad, Dragon. You're right. He doesn't have a dad.
Look, I'm not one to grease the wheels of progress, but I'm just saying. There's the grease there in the bucket, and there's the wheel. Let's connect the dots here. That's all I'm saying. Anyway.
All right, fair enough.
But yeah, so we're at Fuego's Italian.
Okay.
The name of the restaurant. So again, it does look really nice. But the point is, we have like a happy couple, kind of toasting wine glasses over a nice outdoor meal. We also have the Sagar, good old Sagar Shaikh, and then the background, little Easter egg. I'll say that much. I won't tip back too much on that one. And of course, our players this evening, of course, Piper Hinson, the multi-talented Piper Hinson. I'm going to get this in because I meant to get this at the end of the start of all this, by the way. I just want to have an analogy I had for Piper Hinson.
Okay.
Okay, so real quick, it's a real deep cut here to one of our favorite things ever. So I'm going to go really deep on this one.
Oh dear.
So, of course, if anyone's ever kind of randomly wandered into say you want to be an Imagineer video of some variety, usually you're going to hear us mention one of two names. Either it's going to be Vera Farmiga or it's going to be Howard Hamlin and or Patrick Whitfield. And mainly Howard Hamlin. You're going to hear a lot of Howard Hamlin references. And Howard Hamlin is a character who I kind of fell in love more so with Howard Hamlin when I was watching the DVD commentaries for Better Call Saul. I loved him already, but again, he basically got something kind of clicked with me. Like when I realized why I was liking him so much. And basically, there's this gag on the commentary for Better Call Saul. I think it's episode. It's the one where Kettleman, you're in danger. I think that's episode. It's episode 3 or 4. I think it might be 4. I'm not sure. Anyway. Point being, Jimmy walks up to the house where the Kelvins have been kidnapped, and Howard Hamlin's on the scene. And Kim's like saying, like, "Jimmy, what's going on here?" That whole thing. And during the commentary, Vince Gilligan and Peter Gould get into this hilarious conversation. I love these two guys so much. They kind of talking. It's the first season. They're kind of talking about Howard Hamlin, and I forget if Patrick Faden's on the commentary or not, but the point is they're talking about him. And it's like, you know what? Howard Hamlin's he's too good looking. He's too handsome. And then they kind of joke about, why don't we give him like a goiter or like a hair lip or something? Just like next season. The next season it's all goiters. They're just kind of making a joke. He's a little too perfect. He's a little too good looking. It's like this running gag to make fun of how handsome Patrick Fabian is. It's kind of hilarious. And anyway, so that to me, that brought to mind was when we were starting Hinson. I was like, you know what, Piper is, especially the first buying an orange or like buying cars. Like, you know what, Piper is one of those actors on Just Giggle. You know what? A little too perfect. She can sing, she can direct, she can act, and she basically is a chameleon when it comes to parodies. Again, the woman can become anybody. Small children, mother-in-law. She can become everything under the sun. You know what? A little too talented.
Female version of Randy Newman.
Yeah, being a little too perfect if you think about it. I think it's kind of a takeaway. But again, she has kind of the Hamlin-like quality. You know what? A little too perfect, but again, you love her for it. I just wanted to get that out there before we ended Piper Hinson Month. Anyway, sorry for that long, unrelated tangent. Anyway, getting back to Piper Hinson, we have Brian Wiley. Boy, does Brian Wiley feel shafted right now. Wait, she gets this whole Hamlin thing, and what?
All right, who can you compare Wiley to, Dragon, just to give him some time in the sun?
Well, again, basically, of course, I mean, the most recently comes to mind is a little bit of Don Draper to him, but it's again maybe because of the Mad Men parody. That's not really the best comparison. But you know what? I will call this out, Brian Wiley. You know what, Brian Wiley? Recently, back a few seasons on the Grab Bag, we did cover his Twilight Zone period. The man has a flair for the Twilight Zone, and just to connect to something going on. We have the Twilight Zone series that's become a reality. With what is it, Jordan Peele?
I've got a comparison for Brian Wiley.
Please take it away.
Nestor Carbonell.
I kind of see that. I kind of do, and yeah, he's directing. So you know what?
He directs. He's got a flair for like dramatic, dark episodes.
I'll give you that. You know what? I'll give you that.
He's kind of a ladies' man in some of the sketches he does.
That's true. Especially if he's Don Draper. Absolutely.
Uh-huh.
Okay, you've sold me.
All right, Nestor Carbonell.
Old Fuzzy Bear. All right,
hey, Dragon.
Yeah.
What are you doing? What are you writing, Dragon?
God, I'm writing a book.
About what?
All right, I thought you were going deep cuts with the Christmas party sketch, and I was like, wait a minute, what's the Sipka's line? But then, of course, like, oh my god, yes, it's going for the ultimate Bates Motel reference.
I'm writing a book about what?
Okay, now we're getting far off topic. We got to relate it back to Just Giggle It. Let's get back on point. Right. Okay, so Brian,
Dragon.
Okay, so Brian Wiley and Piper Hinson, they're playing Brian and Judy. I see Wiley really stretched on that one. No, I'm kidding. Okay. No, in all seriousness. So we have Brian and Judy, kind of happy couple, having a really nice. It's either what do you think, like a late dinner or like an early dinner.
It looks like an early, like kind of like an early evening dinner.
That's the thing. I'm wondering if it's like a late lunch or an early dinner. Dinner?
I would say it's an early dinner.
Is there a combo of that? I mean, there's brunch. Is there like a dinner or
God,
or a dunch?
Early dinner is the best way to describe it, Dragon.
All right, so it might have a little bit more flair than that, but I mean, you would know if anyone would know. Tiki, you would know.
I know there's no dinner. I know that's not a thing, but I don't know.
Well, would it be that bad if they just kind of labeled it as Linner? Would that be the worst? Okay, anyway, sorry. Okay, so the point is Brian and Judy. They're having a meal together, and we have let's see. So you want to take us through this?
Yeah, sure. So basically, what's going on is, the guy's just telling the girlfriend, just how much she means to him and everything.
Breaks, he pops pops out the ring, and he brings out the ring. And he pops the question to Judy. It's very romantic, but I've got to give Wiley that. You know, Wiley knows how to charm people. He does. That's why we didn't really see what that Madman's get, but you know what? I could buy him as a Don Draper. They did more stuff because the guy's a charmer. I don't know why. Is that Brian Wiley? There's something there. So he says he has this really beautiful thing where he says, you know, I'm a romantic, so I got to go through the dialogue. He says something along the lines of every moment spent with you has been the greatest moment of my life, and I want the rest of my life to feel this way. Will you marry me? Oh, ain't that cute? That's nice.
Yeah, it's like that has some pathos to it, man.
Oh, by the way, I'm gonna take a moment to psychoanalyze Joshua Thomas for a moment here. It's just a mere moment here. So, we've talked about Erase Away, and we've seen kind of the arc of Joshua Thomas, the filmmaker and the writer, haven't we?
To some extent, yes. I mean, of course, there's always plenty of Prince Vault footage that may not be unearthed on us at any time.
That's true. But even by his own admission, we were able to kind of get some answers about Erase Away, and you kind of learn some things about that. I believe it was, Erase Away was kind of a more optimistic view of a relationship, and over the years a little bit more cynicism. And I wonder if the coding of this sketch, the sketch ends on kind of a more kind of like takes the romance out of it by the end. It's really hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
And just in the writing of all this, again, there's kind of like it's a really clever slant on cynicism with romance. I thought that was really great, kind of satirical kind of point to the writing in this. What do you think?
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, so Piper Hinson, she doesn't even look at him. She doesn't even look at him, and instead it's just like it's oh my God, to the phone. She doesn't even look at him in the sketch, and just goes directly to the phone. Then we have just editing the wonderment, just editing craziness in the best of ways unfolds. Can you tell them what happens?
Yeah, I mean, it just goes straight to all the oh my God, he just asked to propose. Hashtag engaged. I mean, it's so fast, Dragon. The editing so fast and loose. We see her changing her last name. Brian for reals, pop the question, surprise.
Yeah, I love that somehow, and I love this if you really look at it. I looked at the finer details of this on a rewatch too. I found a lot of really fun stuff. So
okay.
How if you really look at based on the photo you had before you here, but again, basically we have these photos in the video, but they basically they kind of go through all sorts of different social media platforms. So I think on the Facebook page, I think is where it starts. Hence the whole Facebook corrupts proposal. You start with somehow you see a photo where it has the timestamp of 1 minute has passed. So within 1 minute, she's put on the ring and she's taken all sorts of photos. She's taking at least 2 photos, and she's updated a profile all within 1 minute, all under a minute. And now I imagine the way they shot this was I'm guessing here, I could be completely wrong. I imagine they basically, I think Piper Hinson just retitled her own Facebook page on this one.
I could see that. I
think that because these are either really clever Easter eggs, or again, just Piper Hinson's Facebook profile just renamed to the character's name to Judy. Because if you look at this, you see her again on the freeze frame. It's all the friends and everything, like Jerry Farlow. We have Jerry Farlow. We have which may again I don't know if that was altered from Carrie Farlow, or I think it is another. It might be another Farlow. I can't quite remember, but yeah, Jerry Farlow, Yuka Kadono, little director cameo there. Brian Wiley, again, so that was the most that's the most egregious of all of them right there. It's okay, Brian Wiley looks suspiciously like the other Brian. And again, this Brian, we don't know his last name. Maybe Brian is playing a version of himself. Maybe this is secretly a Brian.
The end. We do know that they This Is the End, Dragon.
True, but also this, Tiki. What if Brian Wiley is a secret? This video. What if we Shyamalan this whole thing, man?
Oh no! Okay, let's do it.
What if we kind of find out split style what if we find out split style that this video secretly is a heightened episode for Brian Wiley?
Yes.
I
like it. It does.
Diluted fan theory or truth? Probably the former.
Hashtag fan theory.
Yeah. Anyway, so then we see the Twitter account Judy got ring. Okay, Judy got ring. Judy got ring. Like Brian for reals. Brian for reals just popped the question. Hashtag surprised at Fuegos Italian. Then we go to the Instagram page, and it's like a diamond hashtag shining bright like a diamond like Rihanna, which another Bates Motel reference.
Right.
Yep, the thing that surprisingly did not bomb season 5 of Bates Motel. Could have though. She could have. She passed. Not with flying colors, but she passed. Anyways, then we have then this correction, but then we have the video equation, basically the equation to anyone just kind of passing by, clicking like a video on a loop, and this just cracks me up. It's with her with the ring, me, close up with the ring, Brian, and we see like the man just still waiting on an answer.
Me ring Brian.
Oh, but it's forgetting one important part of it. And this is the reason you love Piper Ensign, man. So it's like, oh guys, you're selling it with the sound effect. We're not going to do it just here. We're going to give it the old college try here. All right, so you have me ring Brian. Me
ring Brian. Me ring Brian.
Yeah, it's delightful. It's like, oh, it's my favorite part of the video. It's like, oh my god, this is great.
All right,
then we see it.
That we kind of flash back to reality, right?
We're almost there because it's going to go by super fast. I want to break down a little bit of shot by shot on this one. If any just Giggle. So let's see. Then we have Sarah Charm. She responds with a "So happy for you, OMG." But I love how OMG is spelled. It's O is an O. OM. It's like almost like a Hemin and Holland version of like OMG. It's like one of those things. Like OMG. I have to tell you everything. Emojis galore. Essentially, there's like a whole bunch of like kissy face emojis and all sorts of emojis. Then we have and then the snap react. Judy. So we reveal on Tiki. We do know how much time passes here. By the way, you know how much time passes.
No. How do we reveal it?
Well, it's in the description of the video. So I mean, if you really want to know, it's there. But you don't have it's kind of it still plays either way. But if you want to say like, oh my god, maybe almost like hours go by, but specifically like in real time, 1 hour goes by.
Oh no! Oh god!
We know at least 1 hour has gone by. Could be more if you want to be technical. And I like that. I could be crazy. Why don't you tell me if I'm crazy on this? Is the lighting darker?
I could see it.
So I like to think that the lighting got darker though. Again, like hence the whole like late, the late lunch, early dinner thing of it all. Like it's like you can kind of see the light. An hour goes by, the sun has gone down a little bit. It's overcast or something. Because now the lighting's dark. It's like wow, it's kind of a nice little visual. Time has passed. So Brian here is asking, so will you marry me? He's been waiting for an answer for an hour.
And then we just get the most ambiguous, like slightly depressing ending.
So again, Tiki, this is why I spent so much time on the whole like Addison of it all here. Man.
Okay.
I love this, and I could have a completely different read on this than you do or someone does. I don't know, but I love what she does with the performance here, where she's fiddling with the ring, and it's like kind of an amalgam of emotions where it looks like she's embarrassed at first and she gets kind of cutesy with like fiddling with the ring, and then she's kind of like removing and putting it back on, and then think about this, Tiki, in one little bit she kind of ranges from 3 emotions: to embarrassed, to cutesy, to contemplative. And what I kind of took away from this is I like to think that the time jump has the time jump from like a minute to an hour. The time jump has hilariously given her doubt via that performance. And it's up to interpretation for sure, but I'd like to think that in that hour, like now she's kind of snapped out of like, I was all excited about being proposed to, but I'm not sure now that I've had time to think about it. Like retroactively, I've had an hour to think about it, even though it's only been 1 minute. I don't know, that's what do you think?
Yeah, I think you're pretty much right on the money there, Dragon.
So yeah, I guess the final thoughts here. Like, what's your reaction to a lot of this, Tiki? To kind of the thing as a whole, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I think it does a really good job of just kind of you know what it reminds me of, Dragon. Have you seen Searching yet?
No, I haven't.
Well, it reminds me of that, except Searching did it in a very kind of Pixarian sort of way. Like, like I've told you this before, the first 10 minutes of Searching kind of feels like Married Life. This is like the high comedy version of searching. It's like, all right, we have the same template for filmmaking, but let's use it to tell a different sort of story. Let's use it for laughs instead of drama and suspense.
Yeah, I mean the editing.
That's basically where I'm at with it right now. You know, I don't think it's like the biggest grand slam that Piper Hinson's ever pulled off, but I do think it's an interesting starting point and a very appropriate kind of you know, looping back around sort of way to end out the month.
Look at the legacy of it, man. Look at how early, like not even in her prime. Look at how just just as a wonderkin, how good she was with those little moments. And again, it's not it's no Randy or Sandy Noon, but still, it's like, look at all that potential. You know?
Yeah, yeah.
And to your point on the editing, I wanted to call this out with the editing. The editing is so on point. I mean, Piper's doing a good job, and hence the inclusion of it here. But I mean, beyond that, I just want to talk about the sketch itself here, where the editing is so on point and it complements her performance. You know, it's that it's kind of that it's that mile a minute, head over heel. You know, complements her performance of being kind of going a mile a minute on social media, being head over heels with the proposal instead of the guy. But again, the editing kind of sells the comedy of that. The editing sells the punch of the gag, which again is a little up to interpretation. Which don't get me wrong, that plays. I don't have any qualms with that, but I love that.
Yeah, it's very ambiguous.
Yeah, but again, it captures what the main gag is. With again her being kind of the kind of the dark the potentially dark punctuation of it all. Like, wow, after all of that, and she's just basically again, this is kind of the smart. I don't mean cynical in a bad way. I just mean cynical and like, you know, it's kind of a more it's a different way of kind of looking at the marriage, the proposal process, I guess, where it's where again it's a woman who's in love. It's like it's kind of a satire, maybe a kind of a social commentary on how people are more in love with or distracted by a wedding, and you always have those horror stories of people having cold feet, and you always get these horror stories of weddings that people do not go through the weddings, and it's for reasons like this, where it's like you get so head over heels about, you know, the thrill of getting married and all the preparations and that initial shock, and in doing all of this, you know, it's like you get so wrapped up in these moments and the ramifications and preserving it. You know, you get so worked up and you're all about like, I gotta capture the moment on photo. I gotta tell all my friends and neighbors about it. That you lose.
Yeah, it's sort of like a warning about relying too much on social media to tell your life story.
Sure, I mean, it kind of, I don't want to sound all modernist here, but it's kind of that FOMO thing, right? I learned something from Fire Fraud, folks. It's like the FOMO thing. The fear of missing out. I got that acronym.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's what it is. And again, I mean, I want to look at the broader context of this, Tiki, where it's one, it's in regards to proposals and marriage and everything. It's like, you know, you lose what's special about the moment. But I think broadly, I've had this sort of thing with other things where you get so kind of worked up about kind of capturing and executing the moment, you kind of lose what's special about it. It's kind of a fear. And I think they kind of spoke to me on that level. And again, on the whole, it's kind of this great satire of social media and social engineering. If it's not documented, it didn't happen. It's the whole FOMO of it all, I guess.
Yeah, for sure.
So let's see. Let me call out. We'll wrap it up with some additional final thoughts here. Let's call out some favorite moments, right? Well, let me rephrase that. Let me call out some stuff from the comments I wanted to kind
of. Okay.
So from Just Giggle kind of reflected on, again, after I put the call out, like, you know what, guys, let's show some Piper Hinson love here. Let's kind of call out some of the greatest hits and kind of favorite kind of moments, like kind of what's the X factor of Piper Hinson. Let's call that out a little bit. So here's what we got from Just Giggle It specifically. Let's gonna hit. We got a kind of a number of them. So let's reflect on it. So we have basically Piper Hinson at her prime is what they call it. Prime Piper Hinson material. Pretty Flowers.
Yes, absolutely.
Oh god, Pretty Flowers is tremendous. And again, that's our first, isn't it?
Yeah, that was we did our first was Pretty Flowers, and then the Ash Ketchum sketch, I believe.
Yep. Let's see. Of course, one of my favorites. Basically, my go-to example. One of my go-to examples for Piper Hinson is from One Night Stand. I love her as the mother-in-law. One Night Stand. You know, it's rare to get mother-in-law comedy that isn't just the usual, like, oh, my mother-in-law's in town, run. It's something beyond that. It's kind of what you have in One Night Stand. And again, she plays it very convincingly. Where, she and Poncio play the in-laws. It's like, well, I just who knows, Tiki? Maybe one of these days, the in-laws might get their own sketch. Well, yeah, maybe let me rephrase that. Maybe the in-laws won't get their own sketch, but maybe we could fantasize about what that might be like on some future installment of the Grab Bag. Who knows?
Oh yeah.
Let's see. Here's a sketch that they kind of plugged that we haven't covered yet, and I really have no bearing on it. So one of these days we'll be surprised by it. It's called "On the Way Out." She played Jane. I believe it's Jane 2. So I'm assuming there are two women named Jane, but that's just my read on it, having just the Jane 2 being thrown out there. It's like, okay, it must be two Janes, and she's played the second one.
Interesting.
Let's see, Misconnections, which I did watch the majority of before we kind of get the whole like, okay, we're gonna change it up with Randy and Sandy Newman. Not that we're regretting that, but Misconnections. Oddly enough, again, we would have ended up with another Sipka and Piper Hinson one, so it's remarkable. But yeah, another pairing there, which it did look hilarious. I will say, because the idea, Tiki, without getting to the whole of it, is basically, I believe she's a Miss America contestant who's going on a blind date with Sipka.
Oh man!
In premise alone, I would have been happy as a clam doing that one, but we'll get there.
Yeah, but it's like Dragon, of course, with February being a short month, obviously as well, that kind of slowed us down, and there's only so much you can do, and I really do think that out of all the contributors to Just Giggle It, Piper is the one that deserves a sequel. Honesty.
Absolutely. Okay, let's see. Party Addison. Let's talk. Tell the folks about Party Addison.
Oh, I love Party Addison, man. Okay, so everything you just described about like all the drama of the Addison character and all the pathos from that end of episode 1, that all kind of vanishes, but still kind of remains in the background with Party Addison, which is her, basically drunk Addison, Piper Henson playing intoxicated. And Dragon, the great thing about this performance is the fact that she's hilarious, and yet there's an air of like kind of, you have to sort of feel sorry for her because she's at such a drunken state at that point. And I don't know. I feel like it's a very interesting kind of like it's very funny, but with a twinge of dark humor to it.
And the sadly beautiful thing about the Addison character is that in that kind of that stupefied party phase, she does have an element of clarity. I love like kind of the tragedy of the character. At least I say tragedy since we don't know exactly where it's going quite yet. But so far, I love that the kind of the tragedy of the character seems to be when she's in this drunken state, she's kind of putting it together what Joker and Harley really do. And it's like the elements are there, but again, she's just kind of blissfully ignorant in the best of ways. And then again, like only when she's so down in the dump, she's kind of like getting extra sloshed while she put things together.
Mm-hmm.
But again, it's really kind of neat layers. Again, it's just kind of fun, drunken Addison shenanigans, but at the same time, stakes. Let's see. Beyond that, I mean, again, you and I, we kind of highlight again my go-to making a murder parody of Ken Kratz. That's when I kind of fell in love with Piper and Zen's performance. Like, oh my god, she's genius. What she's doing here is genius.
Yeah, sure. My go-to is probably right now the orange one, honestly.
Yeah, the orange is great. I could buy the orange here. It's like, oh god, it's great. Oh god! Again, we can go through the whole month again if we're not careful. So let's not do that.
Oh yeah.
We're gonna be too long if we do that. But so unless you have any additional final thoughts, I'll just.
No, I'm good, man. Lead us out, my friend.
All right, so folks, keep it simple on the short itself, and then the whole shebang. This sketch is short, simple. It's very indicative of early JGI, yet still in its infancy. You glimpse the X factor of Piper Henson. I'm not trying just to talk her up here, but you do get to kind of see the seeds of it. Again, I like that she's not super prominent in this. I mean, I like that she's the driving force of the comedy. Don't get me wrong, but you kind of see that again. It's like it's a minute and 22 seconds. I just want to emphasize how special that is, in case anyone's just forgetting that. All of this, a minute and 22 seconds. She's carrying the majority of this, even though again, it's not in the grand scheme of things. It's not really a big role. Again, it's not really like the most don't get me wrong, it's well executed. I'm not saying it's kind of a very simple point click gag. Where woman gets proposed to, tells everyone she knows about on her phone, and then realizes, oh wait, I haven't said yes. That's a 3-point gag. but it works and it carries because of that X factor there with Piper Hinson just being the. Again, my point is like that sketch lives or dies by your performer. Like if you get the wrong performer there, I'm not saying Just Giggle's ever really had this problem, but like let's say there was a mythical Just Giggle It player that stunk the high end. Let's just say that, all right, because no such player exists. Let's just say let's give her a name. I'm trying to think of a stupid fake name right now. Let's call her Mandy.
All right, fair enough.
Okay, let's say there's Mandy. Let's say Mandy stinks to high heaven. Again, I'm assuming there's no Mandy at all affiliated with Just Giggle. If there is, it's not that Mandy. I swear to God, I swear on the Bible. There is no such Mandy. But this mythical Mandy is her name. So mythical Mandy, she stinks to high heaven. You know, she's killing it. It's like Why So acting at its finest. She's like line, like that's Mandy's voice right there. Like, line, Josh, line.
Oh God.
I'm getting married. I'm not. Am I? Anyways, like reading stage directions. The point is, let's say, so you know, my point is that's a broad exaggeration. Let's just say there's an average mythical Mandy. Average mythical Mandy. Point being, she's just reading the lines wrong. Just like basically reading the lines before you kind of act the lines, before you really just kind of like run with it, before you kind of bring out the comedy in the scene, before you kind of bring out the full potential of it. That's what you get with the X Factor and Piper Hinson versus this kind of someone who's wrong for the sketch or somebody's just kind of like carry it out without bringing that spark, without bringing that charm, without bringing that kind of like there's something that can be mined here. That the kind of the sparkly trail that leads to the end of the rainbow. So, in the grand scheme of things, looking at Piper Hinson, in this you see how she's grown. You see life imitating art in her performance life, in the performer's life, and retroactively. Retroactive, what's so cool about this too, Tiki, is that retroactive, this sketch kind of becomes a little bit like heightened because of one, of course, we made fun of the secret Shyamalan Brian Wilder thing, but in actuality, again, with the whole proposal thing in real life, retroactively, this kind of becomes like a heightened sketch for her, which is also kind of funny.
Right.
It's kind of a twofer. It's all quite fun and whimsical here on the Grab Bag, folks. Take any lesson away, take that lesson. Away. So that brings us to the end of Hinson.
Good stuff, Dragon. Good stuff.
I mean, oh, Tiki boy, the pipes. We paid our due to her. I tell you, we've reached the end. I'm kind of sad. Anyway, so yeah, that brings to an end. We can maybe do a sequel down.
We'll later on. I feel like there's a lot of potential for a second season of Piper. Maybe not right away, but soon, Dragon.
True. All right. Okay, I guess all that said, that does it for now until our next reach into the Just Giggle It Grab Bag.
He said, yes, so shiny. Oh my God. Eee.